Welcome to another episode of The Success Code, the podcast where we unlock the hidden patterns that shape your destiny and give you the tools to rewrite the code of your life. I'm your host, Victor Escalante, and today we're diving into one of the most misunderstood psychological traps that keeps people stuck for decades: magical thinking. Why do intelligent, talented adults get frozen in place, dreaming big but doing nothing? Why do some chase castles in the sky while their real life crumbles beneath them? And why do others break free in a single moment when the right emotional conflict is removed? Today, I'll take you inside 3 cases from this week that illustrate the deep programming that happens in childhood and how these early wounds echo into adulthood. Case number 1, the woman still living in the magical thinking stage. I'm about to begin to work with a new client, a brilliant woman on paper, full of dreams, ideas, and big visions, but completely unable to take actions. This lady has had successes in her past, but at this stage in her life, she feels stuck, unable to see a clear path forward. This is the classic sign of arrested development, specifically in what psychology calls magical thinking stage. She experienced trauma starting at age 3, and when trauma hits that early, the mind freezes. And what you see in adulthood is someone who looks grown, sounds grown, talks a big game, but emotionally operates like a child. They dream big, very big, but they do nothing to make the dream a reality. Why? Because part of them is still that frightened child, waiting for rescue instead of creating their own outcomes. That's why in Escalante Mind Recode, we don't chase the symptom, we go to the origin. Because when you heal that 3-year-old part, the adult finally wakes up and grows up. Case number 2, the daughter of the alcoholic father and loveless mother. Another case I worked with this week was a woman whose life was shaped and imprinted by 2 emotional deserts: an alcoholic father and a mother completely devoid of affection. This combination is a psychological cocktail that creates a devastating pattern. You grow up starving for love, and hungry people make dangerous choices. She was easily seduced not by a man, but by her own deficits. She didn't walk into a relationship, she fell into one. Everything she built in that marriage was constructed in her mind, a fantasy world, a castle in the sky she would never live in. When that marriage failed to fulfill her expectations, she looked elsewhere. Her childhood programming set her up to fail long before she said, "I do." Because if you don't receive healthy, early love, you don't recognize it or demand it later. In our session, we begin dismantling the illusion, the fantasy structures, the emotional architecture she used to survive as a child, but was destroying her as an adult. And once she could finally see the structure, she could finally break free from it. She fought tooth and nail to not accept the truths of what her reality was, but when she finally opened up is when that magical change took place. Case number 3, the small business owner with poverty thinking. The third case is one of my favorites because it illustrates something profound. Your mind is the gatekeeper of your prosperity. A small business owner came to me suffocating under scarcity. Her calendar was empty, her income was unstable, and her confidence was slipping. But the real problem wasn't her business. It was the inner conflict she carried towards her ex-husband. That conflict didn't stay in the past, it lived inside of her every day, leaking into her decisions, her energy, her business, her money, constantly worried. So I helped her resolve that conflict, not intellectually, but emotionally at the subconscious level. And when she reached that moment of inner peace, something remarkable happened. Her phone started ringing. Appointments started booking. Clients started paying. In a matter of hours, without posting, marketing, or hustling, her schedule began to fill up. Why? Because when the inner war ends, your outer world responds immediately. Harmony is magnetic. She is on her way to becoming a magnet for paying clients. In closing, I want you to keep this in mind. These cases all point to one central truth. Your childhood doesn't just shape you, it becomes the operating system of your adult life. If you don't rewrite that system, you keep reliving the same struggles with different faces. The good news is the programming isn't permanent. Your destiny isn't fixed. And one moment of emotional clarity can shift everything. The takeaways that I want you to have today is magical thinking is a developmental freeze. If someone dreams big but never acts, it's not laziness, it's trauma frozen in time. Early deficits become adult desperations. If you grew up starved for love, you will overattach, over fantasize, and overgive. Internal conflicts create external scarcity. Your business relationships and finances mirror your unresolved inner world. Emotional harmony attracts prosperity. When the war inside of you ends, your outer world recalibrates immediately. You can rewrite your programming. No matter how early the trauma started, no matter how deep the pattern runs, your brain and your destiny can be both recoded. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode spoke to you or reminded you of someone you care about, share it. And remember, your mind is not your enemy. It's the greatest tool you've never been taught to use. Until next time, this is Victor Escalante. Decode your mind and recode your destiny. So long, everyone. Have a great week.